Alright, y'all, it's your boy Thizzle, and today I'm going to be talking about the 2023 remake, A Man Called Otto, starring Tom Hanks. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Here we follow the title character Otto, and he's a grumpy old retiree off a steel company who just recently lost his wife. This turns him into a sour, standoffish, but depressed old man. Through the film, Otto goes through a handful of suicide attempts. And one day when he's about to hang himself, he sees a commotion going on with his neighbors that just moved in. Despite going through his depression, Otto's also somewhat of a perfectionist. He goes to the recycling bin and puts the bottles where they need to be and the newspapers where the paper bins are. Whenever a car drives by the community and leaves the gate open, Otto rushes over to close the gate and point a finger in their face every time. But things start to change when Grumpy Otto meets the new neighbors, a pregnant wife named Marisol, her husband Tommy, and her two kids, Luna and Abby. Not only does he start to warm up to the new neighbors, but also the community around him. He does help out his neighbors here and there, with a ladder or a wrench they need to use. And while I will admit, we have seen a couple of these movies where the grumpy old man starts to become heartwarming towards the end of the film. Gran Torino comes to mind, which is one of my favorite movies. But moving to my personal thoughts, I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. I thought this was Tom Hanks' best performance in a long time. We're used to seeing Tom in the movies playing a quirky or a happy-go-lucky kind of guy, but I thought he was very hand-in-glove playing the grumpy old Otto. Normally, we would hate this character's guts, and I can understand if some people do watching this movie, but from my viewing, I thought Tom Hanks' acting really made the character somewhat likable despite being such a grumpy old fart. Maybe likable's pushing it with the character, but I did think there was some sort of charm going on underneath the gravel. And despite how dark and moody this movie can be, there are some lighthearted moments that I really enjoyed. Performance-wise, I had no problem with anybody in this film. Mariana Trevino plays Marisol, and I really like this actress. I thought she put in some nice emotional work, and her character was a nice match for Otto. She's one of the few people, if not the only person, that can see underneath all the fog with Otto. And when Otto snaps at her, she snaps back. She doesn't take any shit. She's also making the Mexican dishes, arroz con mole, Salvador cookies. Even the two kids, Luna and Abby, are starting to like Otto, and even calling him Abuelo Otto, which I thought was really sweet. This film does go back and forth when Otto meets his wife when they're younger, and Otto in the present time. From my viewing, I had no problem with the transitions or the editing between the flashback and the present scenes. I actually thought they were woven together rather well. Knowing the backstory between him and his wife made me feel a bit more sympathetic for the character of Otto. One of Tom's sons, Truman, plays the younger Otto, and Rachel Keller from West Side Story, the recent one, plays his wife, Sonia, in the flashback scenes. There's also two other characters that knew Otto and Sonia when they were younger, Anita and her husband, Ruben. In the present day, Anita's going through Parkinson's, and her husband Ruben is a vegetable, but he's still aware. They were all best friends, but Otto and Ruben grew apart when they started arguing over something silly like the models of cars. Might be serious to folks who really love cars, but it was funny how it was presented in the film. We also find out that Otto has a hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which is a big heart, an enlarged heart, which is pretty ironic coming from a grumpy old man. One thing I want to mention, Thomas Newman is one of my favorite musical composers of all time, in film. Not only is Shawshank one of my favorite films ever, but it's also one of my favorite scores. I also love the score to Green Mile, love the score recently to 1917. It's really nerdy of me, but I even love the Finding Nemo score. There's a main musical piece that Newman uses through the movie, and I really loved it. When I saw his name in the opening credits, music composed by, I knew I was at least gonna like the score, and I loved it. And again, there are some serious moments in the film, but I also found myself cracking up here and there. One scene that comes to mind is when Otto has the altercation with the clown in the hospital, and I did get a few chuckles from the dialogue out of Otto's character. Despite a plot that we may have seen a handful of times, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought Tom Hanks put in one of his best performances, especially in recent years. And I enjoyed all the performances from the supporting cast. We have one of my favorite composers, Thomas Newman, on the musical score. We have some moments of pretty nice looking cinematography, and despite how glum the movie can be, it still maintains some nice lighthearted moments. On my first watch, I'm gonna give the 2023 remake, A Man Called Otto, a strong 9 out of 10. I haven't seen the original Swedish film, but I am gonna check it out. It's on my watch list. And until next time, it's your boy Fro Thizzle, and I'm out. Subscribe for more nerdy Fro talk. Peace, and I'm out.